रुको मैं हाँ फोन पे रहो, जैसे स्टार्ट होगा मैं आपको बता दूंगा। ओके लाइव हो गया, ओके लाइव हो गया, लाइव हो गया। ओके ओके मेरा कहाँ आई है इसको कितनी बोलती है कितना चलेगा ना दीदी चलेगा 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 ये कहाँ बात ऐसे नहीं चाहिए 6 ऑफिस 4 में तो सही पर 9 होनी चाहिए तो मैंने एक पे नहीं आया इसका बंद है क्या नहीं सबका ऑन है, सबका ऑन है, सबका ऑफ है, सबने ऑफ कर रखा उन्होंने बोला है। अच्छा अच्छा यहाँ रखो तो गड़बड़ नहीं मैं रखता हूँ। मैंने इसको एयरप्लेन मोड में कर लिया, सीधे रखना ताकि अगर कुछ मैसेज आए चेक कर सकते। इसका नाम याद होना चाहिए Ravina, Shivangi, Dennis, Akansha, Devesh, and Divya. I can put down and say the name. Yeah, it's coming.
Hello everyone, we're live. Thank you all for joining us today. I request everyone to please also simultaneously open the live on your phone if you can. Yeah, great. Thank you. Um, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much to all the artists that we have here with us on board. But also, firstly, a big thank you to everyone who is joining us live right now. We really appreciate it. And SMS welcomes you all to this artist interactive session, which is in solidarity with If We Do Not Rise, Hum Agar Utre Nahi To campaign. And we're very excited to host this event today. It's a nationwide campaign where different organizations, several artists, several activists are creating their own events and their own initiatives all across India. And I'm so happy to be associated with one of the organizations, SMS, today. And yeah, I'm excited to host you guys. My name is Madhumita Handu, and I am the event curator here for the event today. I'm a recent graduate, and I'm also a dance enthusiast. Um, Before I move ahead, I feel extremely honored and humbled to be associated with such a huge collective of organizations and activists who have constantly been fighting for injustice and we continue to fight for injustice. You're truly an inspiration for youngsters like me. And we hope that we keep on creating such initiatives to spread the awareness on human rights issues. So thank you to the entire collective of If We Do Not Rise campaign, and a special thanks to SMS, especially Archana ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us the opportunity and the platform to execute something like this, like an interactive session like this. Thank you so much, ma'am. Just a little brief on the campaign. If We Do Not Rise campaign is a nationwide campaign that is organized today in different parts of India right now. And the basic aim is to collectively raise voice against all the injustice and all the human rights issues that are prevalent in India today. So, for us, for SNS and the program that we have curated for all, the intention is to start a conversation and especially on the issues that are of the utmost importance in today's time, and to also view it through an artistic lens. So I hope everybody is excited and ready to interact with all the artists. Just to give a little brief on the event flow for the day, we have six artists from six different artistic fields, and they have prepared productions on social issues that we will be uploading right after this live session. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it. And I'll start introducing you all to our panelists. We have a variety, like a diverse panel of artists here. We have two very hardworking professionals and volunteers from SMS. We have Tina and Malaika. Welcome, guys. We have six artists, like I mentioned, from different walks of life. We have Ravina Singh, she's a classical dancer. We have Akanksha Darshini, she's a choreographer and a performer herself. He is an actor and a theatre enthusiast. We have Divesh, she's a young graphic designer and visual artist. We have Shivangi Tiwari. She is a poet and a storyteller and a lyricist. And we have Dennis, who is a contemporary artist. I hope I'm not missing out on anyone. We have six artists on board, and yeah, everybody's here. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for taking out the time and for speaking up on issues that really come from your heart. So thank you all. Um, with this, I'd like to invite Hina. She is a media professional, volunteer, and a teacher at SMS, and she is a theatre enthusiast herself. I'd like Hina to take the lead now and to share a little bit about her work and about SMS. Over to you, Hina.
Thank you, Madhulika, for your kind words. Well, Srijnatmak Manushi Sanstha really feels proud, to be associated with this very beautiful event. And as far as Srijnatmak Manushi Sanstha, I would like to tell you all that this non-profit organization was created, formed long time back in 2003 with an aim to create an egalitarian, sustainable, and a peaceful world. Well, we are based in East Delhi, and it's a matter of pride for me to tell you all about the significant contributions that Srijnatmak Manushi Sanstha has been making so far in the field of remedial education, women and child empowerment and advocacy, education and learning, teachings to art, dance, theatre, craft, music, and of course, SMS work profile also includes family and legal counseling, creating health, nutrition, and hygiene camps. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I joined SMS, way back in 2016, and I started off as an English teacher. I teach kids from class first up to 10. But when you do good to others, good has to come back to you. So I remember one fine day I got to know that I can perform, I can relive my passion, to be on stage, to through Nukkar Nataks, and I think since then there is no looking back. And at SMS we always touch some sensitive topics, which I always feel should be dealt with a lot of sensitivity, practicality, and intelligence. Uh, like you, I'm also looking forward to this event. Uh, Thank you, and you could very well see the excitement on my face.
I'm so glad that we've got such enthusiastic people like you who genuinely believe in the cause and want to do something about it. Thank you so much, Tina. With this, I'd like to invite Malaika. She's been associated with SMS for a really, really long time, and as a volunteer, as a representative of SMS, but she's also an artist. And interestingly, she's also got something prepared for us today. So over to you, Malaika. Please share with us your work and what you've prepared. Malaika, please unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry.
That
Um,
happened.
I've been associated with
SMS since I think since my childhood, and it's been nearly a decade now. And I think I'm just constantly amazed because from all parts that of SMS's work, from whether it's the teaching of various children and the vocational training that is done, the crafts that are sustainable and made out of recycled materials and environmentally sound, through their public performances with Anukarnata, dance performances, including fusion, where everything has a social theme without it being like a lesson you're being taught. Because it's very important to normalize having conversations about important social issues. They are not just something to be studied in school or to be talked about in hush hush tones. It's very, very important. And this campaign, I feel, is reminiscent of the work that SMS has been doing for, I think, 15, 16 years now. And it's really wonderful that we're continuing our engagement with the community on a virtual platform, which is very important because just because there's a pandemic does not mean we stop protesting and we stop resisting. And there's there was a really beautiful sticker actually on Instagram that went uh, Nakav maybe Inkalab, and I feel like that really sums up what we're doing right now. And um, I've also, as Madhulika mentioned, I'm also what I'd like to call an artist poetess because I write poems, I also compose and create graphics out of them through typography, and I also perform them through spoken word. So I've even performed as a part of SMS, as a part of the 1 Billion Rising Delhi, and other gender sensitization programs that we've done. So um, the first poem that I will be reading is not my own though. This is a poem that was written back in 1914, that's 1914, at the start of the World War and the peak of the suffrage movement. And the topics of critiquing capitalism and critiquing the patriarchy uh, are unfortunately still valid today as they were 106 years ago. And I mean, just saying that at that time, the First World War had yet to begin. And we, after so many years, have not managed to move past these issues. And the poem called Protest is by a poetess named Ella Wilcox about the importance, the relevance, as well as the history of protest and what the word really means. So, presenting protest by silence when we makes cowards out of men. The train has clanged on protest. Had no voice been raised against injustice, it the yet serve the law and guillotine decide our least disputes. And must speak and speak again to right the wrong. Each had no vested power in this great day and land can gag or throttle. Crest and voice make loud disapproval of existing ills, make and the lawlessness of wealth protecting laws that let the children and child bearers toil to purchase ease for ideas. Therefore, I do protest against the boast of independence in this mighty land. Call no chain strong, which holds one rusted link. Call no land free, that holds one fettered slave. Until the manacled slim wrists of babes are loosed to toss in childish sport and glee, until the mother bears no burden save the precious one beneath her heart, until God's soil is rescued from the clutch of greed and given back to labor, let no man call this the land of freedom. Even as I speak these words, it just astounds me about how much of this is still pertinent and relevant, and that is dismal more than anything else. The second poem is an original poem, it's a short one, and as I said, I perform under the Nom de Plume Malay Fly, and this is something I've actually typographically represented as well, which will be up as a part of the campaign, and it was written for the campaign of it. if we do not rise. So it talks about words and their impact. It questions their impact, whether if they are inept, how is it that they're considered a threat? However, if they are potent, why are they so easily defeated? It's called A Poem Does Not Detonate. A poem does not detonate. How much can a word destroy? It's not as if the remembered verses resonate within and reverberate even when fractured by memory sympathy. It's not as if a metaphor can unravel the reality of the many accepted atrocities and dispel the myths of collateral damage. It's not as if a chorus can inspire the strength of the power of the masses. How much can the feeble alphabet strung in speech impede? How much can the lettered script signify dissent? It's not as if they're allowed to be said anyway.
That's a wonderful piece. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Monica. Both the pieces that you shared with us, I think, definitely makes us pushes our mind to actually think more on these issues. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And yes, it's something that we really need to think about or dissent about issues of human rights, especially as youngsters. We're the next generation, and I do see myself um, as taking the lead in the future. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maneka. Moving ahead, we will now be starting with the interaction with the artist. Um, the idea behind doing this interaction is to get a sense of understanding and to also listen to the vision that these artists had prepared while they were curating that production. So, without any further ado, I know nobody wants to hear me, we all want to hear the artist. So, without any further ado, I would like to invite our first artist on board, Akanksha Priyadarshini. She is a choreographer and founder of APPAF, that is Akanksha Priyadarshini Performing Arts Foundation. They're basically working towards spreading awareness to the importance of performing arts in our society. And they're doing that through workshops, through trainings, through art education. And yeah, they're working on several social issues through the medium of dance. So, welcome, Akansha. Thank you so much for being on board. The floor is yours. Please share your vision and your thoughts that went behind producing Yahoo. Okay.
Thank you, Madhulika. That was really sweet of you. Hi, everyone. I'm Akansha, and today I'm going to present a small piece called Yami. So, Yami in Sanskrit means friendship of women, and what I'm going to talk about is uh, in the rural areas, are even women educated enough to question their sexuality, their sexual interest, specifically in Indian perspective? So this in our society, it is sad that we see a lot of homophobic behavior, and we do say we support. And once someone from our family comes, forward with that thing, you actually get scared of it. I just want to say that this is not a Western concept or something which is new to India. And I would love to quote David Patnaik, who said there are stories of men becoming women and vice versa. And there are stories men giving birth without women and women giving birth without men. There are stories of creatures who are neither this nor that, but a bit of both. There have been a lot of examples in our mythologies, say Shikhandi, Chudala, Samvan, Samavan. So I, it's nothing new Western that we are talking about. It's just that we need the courage and the education so that we can question it, so that we can, have the freedom to even explore this idea. in Yami, particularly, I'm talking about two women who are in the rural areas and area of India, and who are experiencing this theme and who are actually enjoying it's playful and it's how women interact. And suddenly they realize that they are thinking about it, about each other, and about the time spent together and how they are liking it more than they like that time spent at their home. This is the beginning, but then they courageous enough to even question and take it to something at a sexual level? Let's see. It's a work in progress where I'm actually trying to show how women are attracted to each other in rural areas. And for a lot of women in rural areas, the sexual freedom comes after your marriage. And after marriage, if you are you ready to question that? Are you ready to educate yourself? And as we as society, are we ready to accept them with open arms? I think with this platform that SMS has given us, I've got this chance to bring this topic in the forefront. We have been talking about it, but it's really so. I have been seeing with youth like us who are in urban spaces. It's very easy for us to question this, and it's very easy to confront and really come out and say that yes, I'm a homosexual or and I am a transgender. But is it possible for women or men in rural areas to do so? Are we so very small effort in bringing this topic forefront? I'm showing two women who are married, really enjoying each other's company, really enjoying the intimacy. But will they question their sexuality at the end? Let's see. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful. That's really interesting, and thank you for taking that angle to dance. Um, you are also performing this with another uh, co-dancer, right? It's
Yes.
Pratisha. Is that right?
Pratiksha Priya. Yes.
Pratiksha and you both have performed this piece. And for those who are here with us live, the idea is to interact with them, like I said, to get to know their idea behind their production. But we will be uploading their videos right after this live ends for you all to have a quick look at it and also take something back from it. Thank you so much, Akanta, for sharing it with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Dheer. Dheer is he's an actor. He's a theatre enthusiast. He trained from Drama School Mumbai, and some of his recent works are now productions, Adrak and Photography. I hope I've got that right, Dheer.
Yep, yep, you did.
Great, great. Dheer, over to you. I'm so honored to have you on board, and I'm just really looking forward to what you've prepared for the event today. Please share a little bit about your work.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you. Thank you for letting me do this, giving me a platform here to speak what I want to and what I want to speak about mainly. And I'm going to be performing a poem called Hame Tumhari Betiyan Pasand Hai by Anita Bharti. She is a writer, poet, and an activist for women's rights and Dalit rights. And I chose this because it very simplistically puts forward the deep roots of patriarchy and the caste system, which is so prevalent in our country. And the patriarchy is like a byproduct of the caste system in a way, in some ways. Uh, so why am I doing this? Because it's been too many years that I've been this boy, a man who has never thought about these things, who's been a very comfortable chap, not wanting to think about these things unless I was asked to by some well-read friends of mine or Yeah, so once I started doing theater is when I started questioning these things, which is about 5, 6 years back. And since then, it's been a journey. Like, for instance, I never really appreciated what my mother did for me all these years growing up. And she very proudly used to say, I am a housemaker. And but we, the men of the house, would somehow not respect her workspace in a way. That's her workspace, She's proud of it. She makes this house and she runs us. But slowly, when I started noticing that, so yeah, these things drive me to now read more, write more, and get it into my performance as much as I can. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much, Dean. I feel like even though the issue seems like too obvious to like talk about, it's still so important to still speak on these issues because sometimes these are the little things that go unnoticed. And
Yeah.
if you taking this angle, thank you so much. People, please make sure that you stay on for the live interaction, and after the live interaction, the uploaded videos, and you can catch these performance right after this live. Thank you so much, Deep. Um, Next, we have Dennis. Dennis is a contemporary dancer. He's a professionally trained dancer who has also taken training in various other dance styles, jazz, ballet, and modern. He's got over 10 years of experience, and I'm really excited to have him on board. Hi, Dennis. Welcome. Please share your vision for your production if you prepare for the campaign.
Hello, Madhulika. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Um, well, about the campaign, um, like while I was listening to Dheer, I have a similar sort of story, more or less, I would say. Um, like how Madhulika mentioned, I've been dancing for quite some time now. Like I've been dancing for almost 10 years. I've been practicing dance for a long time now. And for the longest time, as far as I can remember, like ठीक है डांस करना है अपनी टेक्निक इंप्रूव करनी है लाइक आई हैव टू बिकम दिस टू डू दिस अमेजिंग कोरियोग्राफीज हैव टू show my skills and like kind of like yeah excel in my tool as a dancer. It's funny that I got this opportunity by SMS to come up with a piece, to showcase a piece, to create something that would address an issue, that would uh, question, that would make me introspect. Because I remember that like a few years ago I was talking to one of my friends. He's also a fellow dancer. So I was just talking to him that like हम कब से डांस कर रहे हैं, इतने टाइम से डांस कर रहे हैं, and all we have been doing is like we have been like putting up shows, very creative shows, entertaining people, like like amazing choreography. People come to us and like they tell us, oh बहुत अच्छा choreography था, बहुत अच्छा show था, it was amazing. Like, but like I just felt like even I was also kind of the person like who was never like much in कि चलो ठीक है मतलब अच्छा डांसर बनना है और कुछ that's it, nothing more than that. So um, but कहीं ना कहीं there was something missing I felt. Like there was something uh, that I needed to do more than just like polishing my technique and putting up a performance, a great performance. So I put this question across to my friend, like that there is so much that is happening around. There is so much that needs to be addressed. There's so much that needs to be that there's so many people that we need to reach out to. So why are we not doing that? Why are we just merely stuck in this thing of shows and performance and entertainment? Why can't we do something more than that? How can I be part of a movement? How can I be part of this? Uh, because yes, it came to be very late that I need to question. I had some issues, like I had some things that I was like kind of like questioning in my head, like why is it like this? This is what I feel. There is something wrong that is happening, but why am I not able? I wanted to voice out but I'm not a very articulate person when it comes to speaking. So like I was like, how should I do that? So I was like, chalo, theek hai. So it's like it came to me at a very good time. Like it gave me an opportunity to actually look inside and like kind of um, something that I would like to address, something that I would like to address, something that is very close to me, something that is very personal to me. So while I was like, when Madhulika came to me and she was like, so okay, this is the write up, okay, so this is what you, like, something, you need to do something on these lines, like, so, okay. So, there was this, something that I've been feeling for a long time. So I was like, okay, I'll just tell you, like, how this piece came into being. So what, like, I feel that, there is something that I'm not okay with. India being this really large country, like, with diverse communities, beliefs, and opinions, which is amazing. That is what makes it so beautiful. That is what makes it so amazing. But it becomes toxic, I feel, when there is this majoritarian belief or opinion that is kind of made to कि यही
Just
सही है because uh, most of us think like this, so this is right. But I am not okay with that. I don't think I'm okay with it. But how do I object it? How do I, like, voice out? So, what I feel like in the past few years, I've seen that, there is this kind of, uh, there is kind of hate that is being spread, unfortunately, by those in power, by those who have the resources, by those who have the means. There's this kind of hate that is being spread and using fear as a very powerful tool. Using fear as a very powerful tool to like to set an example that देखो बॉस अगर तुमने सवाल उठाया तुमने अगर कुछ बोला तो फिर ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा and like we will use all that is within our reach, all that is like be it the media, be it the uh, authorities, we will use everything against you, but you cannot question. Because if you question, we are going to use all these people to label you as this, that. I was not okay with it. But unfortunately, I saw myself becoming a victim of that fear that was being pushed upon me and a lot of other people. So what I have done in this piece that I have created is that, it is the beginning, I would say. I wouldn't say this is a complete piece. But what I've done in this piece is like I've kind of given this fear a shape and a form. Uh, Something that does not let me rise, something that pushes me down, that constantly pushes me down, something that is very choking. That feeling of fear is very. So I did not want to choreograph anything. I did not want to choreograph. I just gave myself a rough structure, a frame, a skeleton, where I gave fear a tactile quality, where I'm just kind of trying to struggle with it, where I'm trying to improvise with the fear and trying to being the most as a dancer we are used to look very कि हमें बहुत सुंदर दिखना है, we have to look very aesthetic and we have to look good. But I was trying to break away from that also. Like it's okay to fall a few times, it's okay to trip a few times, it's okay to look ugly. Okay, so that's what this fear is making me go through. So this is what I've shown in my piece, like giving that fear a shape and a form which is pulling me down. We feel that we are living in a free country, but I'm just questioning are we living in a free country? Really? Or where are we heading? I'm putting this to the audience, to the viewer. Is this where we are heading? Are you okay with this? Are you okay with this thing becoming the new normal? I am not okay with it. Maybe it's my personal opinion, maybe it's my personal fear, but yeah, so this is what I've done in my piece. I hope the message goes across. And it's just the beginning, and I would really like to thank SMS for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. That's a wonderful interpretation of how you've taken the idea of this campaign and what it truly means to you and your personal struggles and how you have put your personal struggles into your piece. And this is great when artists just break free from the usual, from the usual structure of just dancing like art pieces and jazz and choreography and breaking from it and truly expressing it through movement. And yes, everybody out there who's watching, who's connected with us live right now, Please stay and listen to these interactions and these views, and also stay updated with all the videos that we will be posting right after the live. It's important to look at different views, and this is what these artists have done for you all. Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you for that wonderful interpretation. I can't wait to watch your video now. Thank you. Next, we have Divesh Theresa. He is a young graphic designer. He is a mural artist. Um, and he does a lot of things. He has worked with many NGOs. What's interesting is he redesigned a railway colony in Chanakya Puri using his mural art skills. And he also redesigned a rehab center in Jaipur. Um, Using his artistic skills. I've seen his work personally and I've been associated with his work as well. It's so wonderful to have you on, Divesh. Please share a little about what you've prepared for this event.
Hey, hi. First of all, thank you, Madhulika, for the loveliest introduction. So, hi, my name is Devesh, and I've been into freelancing mural arts and graphic design for 4 years now. And I'm doing painting and sketching from my second standard when I was in school. I got so connected with art and stuff and colors. I used to waste them at that time, but now it proves like a result to me कि हाँ भाई तो कुछ कर सकता है इस फील्ड में भी. So yeah, so uh, the idea of human rights got connected with me because I am always up for the social cause. एक प्रॉफिट के लिए हर बंदा काम कर रहा है लेकिन सोशल के लिए कौन कर रहा है वो मैटर करता है स्पेशली मेरे एज ग्रुप में कि मतलब कोई ऐसा इनिशिएट कर रहा है कि हाँ let's skip the money part, let's skip the monetary part, and let's go for a cause, for a country, for an awareness. So yeah, I have also designed some rehab center. I work with Terra Satyati Foundation to reconstruct the slum areas. I also wanted to do more of it, and yeah, that's it. And about my artwork, which you will see is the interpretation of a women controlled as in puppet by our society. Like each and every person is controlling and restricting their rights and dignities throughout, like throughout. We say there is no discrimination, but deep inside it is, and we know that. So yeah,
That's
that's
wonderful.
it.
That's wonderful, Divesh. Divesh also goes by the name of Art Mantra, which is how he represents all his artwork as well. And he's developed a beautiful piece on violence against women, and I can't wait to upload it via SMS. Thank you so much, Divesh, for being on board. Really, really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank
Moving
you so much.
thank you. Moving on, we have our next artist, Shivangi Tiwari. She is a Hindustani poetess, she's a lyricist, she is a storyteller. In 2018, she started her first self-directed and scripted poetry show by the name of Dastane Maya. And she is also an upcoming lyricist in the Hindi film industry. One of her songs was released last year by the name of Avara Avara. And I just couldn't be happier to introduce her. She's also my senior from college. Thank you so much, Yuan, for being on board. The floor is yours. Please share your production.
Thank you so much, Madhulika. I think that's the kindest introductions I think I've ever got, maybe because you're my junior from college. I think she's just been too kind. Anyway, आदाब मेरा नाम शिवांगी तिवारी है और मैंने actually and why I decided to come to this platform and speak to all of you was because I've been associated with street theatre since the days of Miranda House. But I was studying in Miranda from 2014 to 2016, and I was involved in street theatre to a very, very great extent. नुक्कड़ नाटक करने की वजह से मैं एक्चुअली हिंदी जो कि हमारी मातृभाषा उससे बहुत ही ज्यादा मतलब बहुत ही नजदीकी से जुड़ पाई. And then I started realizing that I'm writing in my I don't write in my own mother tongue because since school I was only writing in English. So then I decided to sort of take up Hindi and Urdu, and I wrote my first production, which is called Dastai Maya. And while I was actually writing that show, I actually came across a very interesting book called How the BJP Wins Elections. And when I read it, I actually realized that ये जब 2014 में बहुत सारे मतलब जब इलेक्शंस हो रहे थे तब actually Dalit oppression was at its peak, which not a lot of people know. And it was actually an eye opener because it's written by a very renowned journalist. So I realized, that मैं अभी तो प्यार इश्क मोहब्बत पर ही लिख रही हूँ दास्तानी, पर सोसाइटी के लिए भी तो समाज के लिए भी आवाज उठाना बहुत जरूरी है. और तभी मैंने ये डिसाइड किया कि आई राइट दिस, आई वांट टू कवर an array of issues and not just one. So I wrote this poem called तिश्ना लबी, भूख थी आजादी की तिश्ना लबी. तिश्ना लबी का मतलब होता है जो लब पे प्यास होती है, उसे तिश्ना लबी कहते हैं. तो मतलब आजादी जो है वो होलसम और होलिस्टिकली मिलनी चाहिए. ये हमारा जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट समथिंग जो हमें टुकड़ों में मिली, जो आजकल मिल रही है, व्हिच इज रियली सैड, और जिससे मैं बिल्कुल भी अग्री नहीं करती हूँ. तो मुझे लगा कि हाँ, ये कविता होगी which can break barriers and shackles of how different communities are being undermined, subjugated, and not just only on one level but diverse levels which we are not even aware of. तो तब मैंने ऐसी बहुत सारी कविताएं लिखनी शुरू करी. और मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि जब हम कॉलेज से बाहर निकल जाते हैं तो वो जो एक रंग दे बसंती वाली फीलिंग होती है कि हम कुछ करेंगे समाज के लिए, वो खत्म हो जाती है. तो उसे रिवाइव करने के लिए मैंने डिसाइड किया कि कीप डूइंग दिस एंड कीप गोइंग ऑन विद दिस. एंड व्हेन एनआरसी एंड सीएए issue was at its peak and it was a big blow. It was such a moving experience for me, which I would like to share with all of you. I actually performed at India Gate during one of the protests in front of 5,000 people. और वो मेरे साथ गा रहे थे. मतलब उन्हें पता नहीं थी कविता क्या है, तो वो हर एक पंक्ति मेरे साथ दोहरा रहे थे और वो एक नारा ही बन गया था. So I realized that there's a lot of power in the people of our country. If we want, we can do anything. So it's just one person has to start, and then it's going to be a ripple effect. So that's what I realized, and I really hope that all of you really enjoy the poem and continue to fight. And more than fight, I think it's very important to support what you believe in rather than fighting. Fighting just gives more way to more fight. So let's be pro things rather than fighting for things. Thank you.
That's very beautiful, Shivani. Thank you so much. And I also can't wait to watch your video that you've prepared for the campaign, if you do not raise. And yes, like I said, please do look at all these uploaded videos right after, like, because it's important to have multiple perspectives and to also acknowledge these perspectives and see what we can take back. And many of these artists have kept their production open-ended for you to interpret themes and issues of the artist concerned. Thank
मैं
you.
आपसे बस एक चीज रिक्वेस्ट कर सकती हूँ, अगर आप बुरा ना माने तो. As actually, okay, today is actually Teachers' Day, right? It's the 5th of September.
Right.
And Faiz Ahmad Faiz is actually my teacher. I mean, even though I never met him, but he is actually my teacher. तो आपने बहुत बार वो यूज किया है अपने कैंपेन में, 2 लाइन्स है कि बोल की लब आजाद है तेरे, बोल जबाब तक तेरी है. पर आगे की पंक्तियां एक्चुअली बहुत सारे लोग जानते नहीं है. So can I, and it's a very short poem, can I just recite so that that's okay for people don't know
Please go
the
ahead.
rest of the night.
Please.
Sorry, I'm taking up your time, but I really want to do this. Okay. बोल की लब आजाद है तेरे, बोल की लब आजाद है तेरे, बोल ज़बान तक तेरी है. तेरा सुतवा जिस्म तेरा, बोल के जा अब तक तेरी है. देख की आहन गर की दुकान में, तुंद है शोले सुर्ख है आहन. खुलने लगे कुफलों के दहाने, फैला हर जंजीर का दामन. बोल ये थोड़ा वक्त बहुत है, जिस्म और ज़बां की मौत से पहले. बोल की सच जिंदा है अब तक, बोल की जो कहना है कह ले. बोल की लब आजाद है तेरे, बोल ज़बां अब तक तेरी है. तेरा सुतवा जिस्म तेरा, बोल के जा अब तक तेरी. शुक्रिया. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's amazing that we're doing multiple things using one platform and
Just have
reaching
20
out
minutes.
to so many issues at the same time, and also celebrating Teachers' Day today. Thank you so much, Ivani.
Thank you, Madhurika.
Last but not the least, we have the last performer, the last artist with us, Ravina Singh. She is a trained classical Kathak dancer performer with over 20 years of training in Kathak dance. I don't know how she does that, but certainly she has managed. She is also trained in various other styles, hip hop, jazz, contemporary, and much more. She was also the rehearsal director at a very famous musical production, Mughal Azam, which was traveled across India and internationally. And she was also a performer in that particular musical. So I warmly welcome you, Ravina. Thank you so much for being on board, and please do share your thoughts.
So, at the risk of sounding repetitive, I'm also going to mention how adorable Madhulika's introductions are. So, thank you for that. I'm probably the only like classical dancer on this panel, and which is why I did not. For a long time, when Madhulika came up to me with this concept, I was obviously very excited to work on it. But for a long time, I kept thinking about what I can create, like something new that I can do. But finally, I just considered and I was like, why don't I reflect? Like, why don't I look at the repertoire that I already have? And because classical forms come with a lot of appropriation, with a lot of privilege and class, they've been branded, so to say, in a certain way, and a lot of times at the cost of marginalized voices being silenced. And again, like, so the fact that we are having these conversations in other spheres, it becomes very important for us who are practicing art forms to also raise these questions in art, right? Because art is a reflection of our lives, and like our lives are a reflection of our art. So, and that's when I started digging, and I kind of like, and I have really small pieces actually. I didn't really go into really lengthy work. I just wanted to pick up really small and to the point things that really speak and hit the nail on the head. So basically, the first one is a small nugget, and I've done an explanation within my video as well. But basically, I've danced it for over 15 years, I believe. But it was only like during the lockdown again, like I started reflecting on all my pieces that I've been dancing for all these years, and I asked Guruji, I was like, इसका मतलब क्या है? Because so the kavit, basically a kavit is like a poem. It's poetry, but it's recited on like beat. So it's recited to the rhythm, and a lot of times it's also interspersed with lyrics. So this particular kavit, and so Krishna is a very important theme in Kathak. Like we are like we love Krishna in every capacity. Like every kind of story of Krishna is in Kathak and in most classical forms. And this one particularly, what I could only understand, and because what we usually only deal with in Kathak is just describing his beauty. Things like his feet amber, like the clothes he wears, or his more mukut and all of these things. So I only, up till now, I only took that kavits to kind of like, be describing Krishna's beauty. But then I started when I asked Guruji for the first time. I think maybe he was also waiting for me to grow up and understand the nuance. And he pointed out that it's actually from someone who's not like someone who's from a lower caste or lower section of the so to say. I'm just using lower for the lack of a better word. Um, and I would maybe I could use the word marginalized. And Krishna, of course, was someone who was kind of like, of a relatively higher caste or like. And this person can only admire Krishna's beauty from far away. He doesn't have access to Krishna. And so there are these things like, so he's playing in his angan or whatever, and the words of the kavit are like, Dhul bhare ati sundar sham, kaisi bani se sundar choti. So how he's playing in the mud. It's a small baby Krishna he's describing. And again, all of these things, his smile, everything, the poem goes to describe all of it. And the last line is where it really hit me, when I actually looked to understand it. And the line goes like, काग के भाग बढ़े सजनी, हरे हाथ से ले गयो माखन रोटी. Which means that, oh look how fortunate is that crow. Even the crow is luckier than me, that it can just go and
Sit on your shoulder.
access to this kind of intimacy with somebody. But again, like you can talk about it in terms of like actual figures, like in a physical sense. But I feel like it has like a more metaphorical term also, right? Like it kind of like highlights how much caste affects religion. Like even like so like caste, a lot of people also say, right, like because it was people who came out of the varnas came out of like parts of God's body. So of course it's intrinsically linked with caste. But and then I was like, so God is, or like the religion is what you did, you develop the caste system for, and then within that caste system there's no space for people to have access to this God, like so, and like because today also you know that that marginalized communities like lower caste people cannot freely even access temples. Like forget everything else. Like there was this case, right, that the boy was beaten up or like killed, I think, for entering a temple. So I think that's where this topic became really important for me. Suddenly, like it just like understood it very differently, and that's why I wanted that to be one of the main things that I include. And the other one is a very popular theme. It's also gotten a lot of like contemporary spins, a lot of eyes, a lot of different ways of dealing with this, which is basically the Draupadi Chirharan. And again, like I kind of like, so basically like there are also like larger parts of it which is called the Draupadi Sankalp, which as a whole piece is a lot of times shown, which goes from like the actual the incident in the court till like the her questioning the elders and her raising her voice and questioning the dharma about how, like, somebody who's wagered himself can wager me as a wife. And so I've actually left those parts out. I only wanted to, because I only wanted to highlight uh, the injustice part in just that, right? And I wanted the questions to come from us. I didn't want the questions to be hers. I wanted the questions to come from us. So that's why I leave it at a point where the incident has happened. She has been brought into court, and there are of course other things like she was forcibly dragged in by her head from her chambers where men were not allowed to go in the first place, and she was wearing a single cloth, and nobody spoke up, right? Like she was a part of the family. She wasn't even like some, not that you can do it to like people who are not part of your family, but the way we have looked at certain people like as commodities, right? Like, and I'm not just going to use women there. I'm going to leave everyone who doesn't fit the majority idea, everyone who is othered from the central lens. Uh, People are looked at as commodities. So if you can really wager a person and they can be humiliated in such a way, and that's what pretty much that's happening, right? So no, like like marginalized people do not have any say in the kind of rules that are being made for them without even knowing what they live as, like, so so basically I leave it open ended. I leave it as a question as to this is already done. And why I use that particular incident is also because that incident caused a war. That is what the turning point for the Mahabharat was. So if that one person who chose to not take that injustice could cause something like a Mahabharat, so what will it take for us to speak up, right? If we do not rise, like what happens if we do not rise? So we are also capable of creating that kind of an impact, and that's kind of the reason why I chose the second excerpt.
Thank you so much, Ravina. It's something definitely to delve into, and we'll probably do that once we watch your video. Thank you for creating the piece, and definitely people are going to take something back from it. Like most of you artists have kept it open-ended, allowing the audience to take whatever they want and whatever they understand out of it. I think that is what art does. Art is not only one of the most powerful tools to spread awareness, but I also believe that art sometimes acts as a healer, especially in such times. So thank you to all the artists, to the representatives of SMS for being on board. We're almost towards the end. Now, before I end it with an end note, I'd like to invite back Hina, as she has a little poem prepared. So if I can have Hina back. Um,
Hi, Madhulika. Thank you again for inviting me. Well, before I begin, I just would like to thank each and every artist. You guys are so encouraging, so motivating. Trust me. And I think Ravina ji rightly said that, and even I would like to, wish all my teachers, a very happy Teachers' Day. Thank you, Archana ma'am, for sensing that yes, I could be the part of all those Nukkar Nataks, and I shall always be grateful to you. Thank you so very much. And so I won't be taking much time, and there are few lines which I would like to share with you all. Actually, the original lines being written by Shabdam Hashmi ji. So there is a
Shabdan
little,
Hashmi.
we have actually
Shabdan
tweaked
Hashmi.
to it. So I hope you all will like it. हम अगर उठे नहीं तो हम अगर उठे नहीं तो जुल्म बढ़ता जाएगा जुल्म करने वाला जोर सीना बनता जाएगा दिल में जो दिल में जो डर का किला है दिल में जो डर का किला है अंदर ही उसको तोड़ दो एक ही धक्के से वो खुद ही ढहता जाएगा दिल में जो डर का किला है खुद ही दिल में जो डर का किला है अंदर ही उसको तोड़ दो एक ही धक्के से वो खुद ही ढहता जाएगा आओ आओ आगे बढ़ो मिलकर अधिकार अपने छीन लो
ये लो
काफिला जो अब चला है अब न रुकने पाएगा हम अगर उठे नहीं तो जुल्म बढ़ता जाएगा थैंक यू
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. And to Shabnam ji for giving wonderful words also. Thank you so much, Ina, for doing that, for preparing it for all of us. Lastly, thanks to all the artists who are on board with us, who took out the time to curate production, just to sort of contribute to the campaign. Thank you, everyone. And to all those who are watching us live, we will be uploading all their videos right after this live. So please stay tuned and stay connected. And please do give a look at all the videos and share and spread the love. Lastly, I would like to invite Archana ma'am, the face of SMS, to finally give the event a closing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madhulika. I'm very touched and moved by the youngsters today who have a conscience which is alive and kicking, because that's the only hope for us. If we don't think that, live outside our little ivory towers and don't think about just ये नौकरी है मुझे इसमें कितना मिल रहा है, there's no vision about where our life is going. It's a sad state. It's the reason that we keep quiet on a lot of issues which should actually matter to us. It's not me, it doesn't affect me. But if we're all connected, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, we must think of it. I particularly liked all the guys speaking, the young men, because that's where it's more important. Because women are used to rearing children, looking after people from childhood. They are used to. But when I heard Dennis and all the other boys on the thing, I was very touched. I really liked it. It was very touching. And another, before I say something else, I want to say what Shivangi also said about the language, identifying with the language, because that's exactly what happened with me. I had done Hindi only for 5 years. We studied in convent most of the time. It's only when I started working with the NGO before and SMS that I began to write in Hindi, because we won't be doing Nukkad Natak in Angrezi. So ultimately we started, and बच्चों को बोला अच्छा बोलो, but शुरू में लिखना पड़ता था. Now we just make a situation, get the stories from them and put it together, weave it together, and they will perform. And only the things which are, they are not very clear, then I will write and give them. But that's how I got used to writing in Hindi. मेरी हिंदी ठीक हो गई. Otherwise, I was such a nincompoop in Hindi. मुझे शिवांगी का जो identification है ना, you can't go and everywhere go and speak in English and say ये हम बोलना चाहते हैं, ये हमारी this is the motive. So that aside, I just want to thank today, first and foremost, is all the viewers who joined us today, because they are obviously those ones with conscience and who are connected with us, have helped us, worked us, they are friends and family. I just want to thank them as the conscience keepers of what is happening in the country today and in the future. It rests in our hands. Ours, I mean all of us. This connects to everything that is happening, not just in India, but all over the world. Secondly, I'd like to thank all our volunteers, Madhulika heading, the curator, along with Bharat. Bharat is an old volunteer of SMS. He's been our student since he was about 5 years old. And today he's doing something in filmmaking and editing. But he has been the technical background for this. And of course, Malaika and Hina, who have been, I'd like to thank them today and for all the help that they've given us even in the past. Thirdly, I'd like to thank all the co-campaigning NGOs, organizations who have thought of this, that all of us should come on one platform. We can't work in silos. We have to work on an ivory tower. We have to come together, and the link that we make, the network that we build, is not for today. It is for tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Hopefully, there'll be a day when we don't need to have these networks. Then we know that maybe, what we are doing is in the right direction. And all of us have, you're all links in that. And I have this very strong notion in my mind that, we are only as strong as the weakest link. So if there is one person who's unhappy in the country, in our society, in our neighborhood, and we can sleep peacefully, it's not possible. Think you have a neighbor who's miserable. You will, at the back of your mind, it scratches your conscience. It hurts your soul. And even if you can't do anything, the first factor is empathy. It's from empathy that another action can be taken. Fourth, I want to thank all the artists of the day. I hope I don't get their names right. That is, I don't get the names wrong. That is Ravina, Shivani, Dennis, Akanksha, Devesh, and Dhirhira. Thank you so much. I think you have been, SMS is very proud to know artists like you, and hope you keep on working in this. Hopefully we can do something together. I'm very happy. I love the animation. I love that thing, the promo about your two women. And I think all these connections are very important for us to make. I'd like to just say that if we imagine a world, culture is a very powerful tool to give a vision to it. And all of you in your own ways are doing that. And the seeds, important part is the seeds of an alternative culture. If there is a dominant culture which is not so positive today, there has to be an incipient, latent seed of alternative culture which believes in equality, which believes in a sustainable world, which believes in a world where the children of tomorrow can live happily. They shouldn't be miserable or worse than today. We have to leave a legacy of a better world for them. And that, I think, is something, I mean, maybe an artist or a filmmaker says, bhai, ye hamara kaam nahi hai. Lekin after your basic work is done, you have to have a vision for a world beyond you. And that, I think, gives all of us a little meaning in life. It adds a fourth dimension to our lives. I'd like to have a small story to, I love this story and I always say this. Wangari Maathai, the African ecologist, who I think she got the Nobel Prize also, she did a lot for greening of of Africa. And she has this story about a hummingbird. And this hummingbird is one of the smallest animals. That hummingbird has a small beak, a small hummingbird, it's this small, and has a small beak. In that beak, it's carrying water to put out the forest fire. look at the guts, look at the himmat of that little hummingbird to think that I can do it when all the big animals are running away. The elephant in his huge soond can carry so much water, is not doing, but the little hummingbird is doing. We are all those little hummingbirds, and when we get together, we light up the world. We save our forest. We save this world. And one more thing I'd like to say is that if we believe in democracy, it's all our voices. Democracy is not what is given just in the constitution. Constitution will not matter. We are the people who have given this constitution to ourselves. We the people. So I'd like to say that if this is a democracy, we need to express ourselves, even if it's dissent, if it's just discontent, it is fear. We need to express this, because unless we express it, we are not going to channelize ourselves into going in a direction which is removing these hurdles from a better life for not just us, for the whole country. And it's very nice that there is a solidarity of more than 500 groups from all over, and not just women's groups. There are groups who are dealing with adivasis rights. There are labor unions. There are LGBTQ and gender inclusiveness, and you just name it. All people who are facing problems today are people who are not getting their justice. Justice is getting delayed. All of them are coming together. Gender violence, gender-based violence. I mean, it starts with us. Unless we realize, and it's not that we are blameless or we have no fault. We also have fault. But when we start to reflect within, and also outside, maybe we can change something. We used to talk about environmental this thing and that thing, and at my home everybody would point out that you keep the tap open, and it's a joke that, as if in Kashmir jhalam is called vitasta, that vitasta is flowing through your house, so you can keep the tap. But gradually it's a habit. We have to change ourselves, and the world changes. That is one thing I wanted to say. And I also want to say that this solidarity is very important for all of us. And we don't have to be big writers and poets like Faiz or Tagore to talk about what we want to say or what we feel. We don't have to be great people. We just have to speak out. And so that one day we don't have to live in fear. And today, that whole prayer of where the mind is without fear is lying, it's fallen on its head. It's not that, where the mind is without fear, into that heaven of freedom, let my country awake. No, it is not. So I just want to end with, they're translated 2 lines of Bertolt Brecht. I hope I can say it correctly. There's, हमें चुनना होगा नफरत, शक और मोहब्बत के बीच. हमें चुनना होगा नफरत, शक और मोहब्बत के बीच. हमारी आवाज साफ और बुलंद होनी चाहिए और कदम सही दिशा में. सो दोस्तों, अगर हमें गिरना ही था तो कोई नहीं, बट हमें उठना, गिरना हमारे हाथ में नहीं है, लेकिन उठना हमारे हाथ में है. So we as countrymen, as human beings, as women, as people of the society, I think we need to come together and heal the nation. And today I think, to mention again, we are as strong as our weakest link. So there's one unhappy soul in our vicinity, within our surrounding. You'll see within your family. Can you be happy when you know your mom and dad are so unhappy with something that is happening within the family? So I think it affects us. So it's not me. It is me, and me. So we are all one. So on that note, yes for healing, yes for togetherness, yes for a better society tomorrow. Thank you, Madhulika. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to those who have stayed with us live. Thank you so much, and yes, hope to continue with this campaign even in the future. So thank you and good evening to all. Okay, guys, bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, let's come again.